In my last video, I touched on Trayvon Glass and how Juba's father made it clear that Trayvon and Jacoby were the only real friends that Juba had out of the whole group. And if you sit back and think about the situation and pay attention to it, they really haven't been acting like suspects. Like in the interrogation videos and the depositions and the testimonies, at least that's just my opinion, especially with Trayvon. Trayvon was one of the producers in YNW, and the night Sack and Juvie were murdered, he had no idea until days later that Melly might have been the person that did all this, allegedly. On top of the things that came out in court leading up to the day that he had to take the stand. So, in my honest opinion, I think Trayvon sat back and used common sense. He let Melly and Bortland hang themselves just by way of lies. And if you read the deposition, some people say that Trayvon honesty comes off as if he's snitching. If you're from the streets, you can have that one. You got it. But I'm not from the streets. So in my eye, I feel like what Trayvon did wasn't snitching at all, especially in a situation like this. And when he took the stand, some people felt like he tried to switch it up and make the trial a little controversial. Again, if that's how you feel, that's what you took from it, cool. But in this video, I'm gonna give you a few important parts of Trayvon's testimony and show you how his testimony could have given Melly life, and AD testimony was designed to create reasonable doubt with the jurors and possibly send Melly home. Like
the record, what is Frito wearing in the photograph?
A shirt. A white shirt.
Okay. So after the hospital, you went to Frito's house.
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay. And what were you doing at the house?
Still grieving.
Okay. Who took you to the hospital?
The cameraman.
Okay. Do you recall his name?
Drew.
All right. And do you recall who took you from the hospital to Frito's house?
Same person.
All right. And before you left for the hospital, or actually, who went to the hospital with you and Drew?
Just Drew.
Okay. Who was at the house, Melly's house, before you left for the hospital?
Same people that was there when we got there.
Okay, and same people being the 4 people that entered the Mitsubishi?
Yes.
Okay. So you're at Frito's house. You mentioned, and I forgot exactly where you were in the house. Did you say where you were?
Drew was wrong.
Oh. No, not Melly's house, Frito's house. Where were you in Frito's house?
Outside.
Okay. And who was at Frito's house when you first got there?
Everybody that was in the house.
Okay. And it's because I don't know who everybody was or is, can you please specify?
Kobe, Melly. I'm on people I can remember.
Okay. Was that the first time you saw Melly after you guys left the studio?
Yeah.
Was Melly wearing the same clothes or different clothes than when you saw him at the studio?
It was a new day. Nah, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. You guys
wasn't wearing the same clothes.
Okay. Do you recall what he was wearing?
You've just been seriously injured in an accident. What are you going to do next?
He's going to call Sweet James. Sweet James. 809 million, baby. There's one of their 10,000 billboards.
Just had on some shorts.
Okay. And how long do you stay at Frito Bain's house?
I don't know.
All right. Minutes, hours, days?
Could be minutes, could be hours.
Okay. So not days?
Not even a day.
Okay. And so when you got to Frito's house, was it light or dark outside?
It's light.
And you previously said yourself and Melly and someone else was at Frito's house. Was Frito there as well?
I think I did see him. I don't remember.
Okay. What happens while you're there? Like you're there, you're outside, what happened?
Grieving.
Trayvon took the stand 2 years ago, and when he did, a lot of people looked at his testimony as an L for the prosecutors. Some YouTubers labeled what he did in his testimony as a snitch. They called him a rat. And I think him wishing that he was high doing his testimony just kind of wasn't a good look. And it just made people thought that he was going to get up there and spin it, or what he's saying wasn't credible. But today I feel a little different. I feel like Trayvon's deposition, along with his testimony, might have helped strengthen the case against Melly at the time. And again, he wasn't telling, he wasn't ratting, in my opinion. He wasn't snitching. Take what you want from that, but that's just my opinion. I feel like what Trayvon did was just told his truth. Nothing more, nothing less. And again, like I said in the beginning of my video, according to Juve's father, Trayvon and Jacoby were the only real friends that his son had.
What happens while you're there? Like you're there, you're outside, what happens?
Grieving.
Okay. And you're grieving, are you grieving alone?
Yes.
Are you at the house at any point in time? Do more people come to the house, or do people leave the house?
If they did come, I don't know. I was in the back.
Okay.
I was back there breathing.
At any point in time, did Melly leave Frito's house?
It came to the point when I was there by myself.
All right. So you were there by yourself. So the people that you previously said were there were no longer there, correct?
Right.
And so do you know where they went during that time?
I don't.
All right. And we're still talking about October 26th of 2018, correct?
Yes.
And this would be shortly after the hospital?
Yes.
All right. At some point, does Melly come back to Frito's house?
Around this time, I'm still grieving and getting a little, I don't know, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Melly comes back.
Yeah, I guess they did come back.
Right.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay. And at some point, does Melly leave again, a second time?
I don't remember anything farther after that.
All right.
Me grieving. That was the last thing I remember was me grieving. And I ended up in Gifford.
All right. So before you end up in Griffin, if I were to show you a statement, would that refresh your recollection as to Melly leaving and coming back a second time?
I suppose so.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Somewhat.
Okay. So tell us what you somewhat remember.
I just did.
So when you look at bits and pieces of the deposition, and then you look at his testimony, it make all the sense in the world why he was on the stand the way he was, and why he said certain things in the deposition. I feel like if I was in his position, I probably would have done some of the same thing. Now, granted, he got on the stand and tried to just play it street as if you didn't already say all this stuff in the deposition. Like I said in the beginning of my video, you can have that one, because that was a little weird to me. But I kind of get it a little bit, part of me, because some of the questions that it looked like he was trying to be somewhat street on, as if you hadn't already answered these questions in the deposition, it was kind of like cold talk, where like the pieces of the puzzle were already slowly being put together. And it's like one of those things where when you're talking to the DA, like, don't ask me questions that you already know the answers to. Leaving the studio, we already saw the video 1,000 times over, 1,000,000 times over. You see 4 people get in the red Mitsubishi, and then you see 4 people in the black truck that Melly was in. Trayvon told the prosecutors when he took the stand that Melly at no point on the freeway, on the highway, switched vehicles. They asked him, they said, did at any time Melly get out of his vehicle and switch vehicles? He just flat out told him no, he didn't. At no point he didn't. But he said one thing that he did remember was the cars at some point going separate ways. He told the prosecutors that when they got the news about the shooting and second Juvie might have been dead, the only two people to go to the hospital was him and Drew filming. When they get to the hospital, they see Borland, but they don't see no Melly. Keep that in mind now, because according to AD, they all went to the house. According to AD, at some point, Melly got out of the black truck and got inside of the red Mitsubishi. And if that's the case, if we going off what AD said or trying to compare both of the testimonies, if what AD said is true, that means Melly should be at the hospital with Drew and Trayvon, right? And how did Trayvon and Drew end up at the hospital, but it's just them? Literally, it's nobody else. Nobody in the red truck is at the hospital. They the only ones there. No AD, no Melly, no Jacoby, nobody. They get there, it's Borland now. Of course, Borland is there. Borland is there with the two dead bodies, but where is Melly? Again, if all y'all went to the house together, like AD said in his testimony, how is it that Trayvon and Drew Filmon end up at the hospital by themselves? I ain't understanding it. And nobody else around. And two, if all y'all guys was at the house together, why didn't everybody go to the hospital at the same exact time? How did some of the people in the vehicle, the red Mitsubishi, just mysteriously, just magically off instinct end up at Fredo Bang's house allegedly? You get what I'm saying? Like, if this was a drive-by and y'all got a call all at once and y'all at Melly's house, why didn't everybody go to the hospital first? How did Melly magically just end up at Fredo Bang's house, and why all of a sudden is he in different clothes? Remember what I said in the beginning now, a lot of people thought that Trayvon got on the stand and what he did was ultimately snitching on Melly because he was the one that pretty much confirmed that Melly never got inside of the red Mitsubishi on the highway. And at no point did he come to the house. Also, he confirmed that Melly had a change of clothes. Trayvon also said as far as he could see, he was the only person actually taking the situation to the heart, like crying and then grieving at the time when he got the news about second Juvie, when everybody was at Fredo Bang's house. Melly done changed clothes. They say allegedly Fredo Bang gave all of them Percocet. So this nigga mind shit, he done changed clothes. He ready to get high. He ready to fuck some hoes. He ain't thinking about nothing that just happened. He ain't thinking about Nathan. This all at Fredo Bang's house now in the midst of all this shit going on. And he said eventually they leave, but he stay at the house, Trayvon. And when Melly and the Fredo Bang and the other guys, whoever, they all leave. They leave the house twice. He said they leave and come back. They leave and come back. Again, man, if you watch my video, my very first video, when I started this series about the cell phone and how it could have synced Melly and nailed him to the cross, this just further proves my theory, in my opinion. He never switched cars. Once the shooting happened and they staged everything, he was picked up on the side of the road. The back and forth from the house with them getting their story together and getting rid of all the evidence. That's why you see his phone pinged at the crime scene by the prosecutor. We can sit up here, man, and act like the DA wasn't cooking this man if we want to. I don't know if somebody got to the jurors and got in their ear and made them flip, because even if you don't have the murder weapon, it's like the testimony of Trayvon is so accurate to what they got in the investigation that you can't help but convict this man of the crime that y'all charging him with. That's just how I feel. That just am I tripping? Am I tripping? Weapon or not. And I feel like the phone had more power than finding the gun, honestly. That's just me, man, because if you dig deep and you just look at other cases in the past, just do your research and Google it. It's been plenty of cases where people have been convicted without a murder weapon. So when people sit up here and try to act like just because they don't got no weapon, they don't got no case, man, that's dumb to me. Especially when they got all this other evidence piled up on this man, from the cell phone, the text messages in the phone, the Snapchat, the phone being pinged, like the stuff with Fredo Bang, everything with track is like the testimony, they had everything that they needed to convict this man. I'm just being real. The defense was trying to paint it and make Trayvon look like he wasn't credible because he smoked weed, so he might not remember what he said in his previous statement he gave, but I don't think that just counted for nothing, if we being honest, because at that point I feel like they were just fishing for shit. They was fishing for stuff because they was trying to find anything to discredit Trayvon after he pretty much admitted that Melly had on different clothes once they saw him at Fredo Bang's house. And I feel like it's even more crazy for them to try to discredit him too by comparing Trayvon being a felon to AD having a clean record. It's like, man, what that got to do with anything? What that got to do with the truth of the matter of what's going on right now in all this evidence? But that's what they get paid to do. I'm pretty sure that label Melly signed with, or whoever the fuck they probably paying them folks that was paying them thousands of dollars at the time. So that's what they had to do. But if we being real, I honestly feel like Melly didn't switch vehicles. Just like the GPS pinged them and they said in court, he was on the crime scene at the time all that stuff happened. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel. And I seen another YouTuber that said that Melly's mom, around the time that Trayvon testified, wrote some cryptic stuff on, I think, Instagram, where she said something dealing with rats and the pest control, insinuating that what Trayvon was doing at the time was snitching. But just like dude said, how can you label this man as a snitch in a situation like this pertaining to Melly, unless your son is a real deal suspect? Think about it. If he innocent and he ain't did nothing, it ain't nothing to rat on. And again, this is me. Telling the truth in situations like these, like what Melly's in, this ain't rat. And I honestly feel like if Melly didn't have nothing to hide, his mom wouldn't feel that way. She wouldn't have posted that. If she posted that, she wouldn't have posted that. But again, these be these stupid ass rules in the streets, because anybody with common sense will sit back and know that that's stupid as hell for your mama to even, in the situation that you in, go write something like that to begin with. She should be like, shut the fuck up, lady. Your son fighting a murder where he facing life and the death penalty, and you still on the internet talking street. But when you come from that life, you know, it be like so much stuff that like people in the street try to justify and consider it right when at the end of the day, these rules be so damn stupid. And like you thinking like that and being that type of parent is why your son is in the situation he in right now. Because every time it's some bullshit, you defend it. Now I get it. Parents gonna be parents. Like I've been saying this whole series. Parents gonna be parents. Defend your child any way you feel, because I feel like Juby's father, to a certain degree, you know, he got these emotions where he don't like Melly and his family, and it's personal. So you have to somewhat just be careful a little bit with that, because it'll make you lose sight of getting real justice, because he hadn't been found guilty yet. True enough, last trial was a mistrial. So sometimes I look at Juvy's father and I just pray and just hope that he get closure and he get justice, simply because I know it's eating him up inside, and he really got a real deal issue with them people. And in his heart, he believed they did it. But sometimes you can go a little too far with how you personally feel about a person sometimes, to where you lose sight of the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is just getting justice. So when justice is served, you know, feel how you want to feel, but don't stoop to the level of Melly's mom all the time. That's like if Juby's father was to watch one of my videos, because I want justice for these boys, Sack and Juby. But sometimes when he go with Melly's mother, she doing everything she's supposed to do as a mom, you know, right or wrong. Is it right? No. But right or wrong, you know, a parent gonna be a parent, and you know, you being a father and your son defense. But sometimes when she just doing stuff and you know it's clout chasing, just I feel like the best thing to do is just put it in God's hands. Because everybody who look at this situation, man, and just use their common sense, I feel like know the truth. We just can't sit up here and just verbally say things until justice is served. Then you could probably sit back. Everybody can post videos or tweets, get on Instagram, however they please, and go, I know it the whole time, from regular people, civilians, all the way down up to high scale people, to rappers and celebrities. Because believe it or not, it's a lot of people. You think about it, man. You hear like Kendrick Lamar got a song where he say 2 rappers. I heard Kendrick Lamar one time say, and doing this Drake beat, I love my friends. He said something along the lines of, like, basically, he love his friends, but if they turn on him, he YNW Melly. Dirk said the same thing in one of his songs, in a song called I Don't Know, where he said, I get that vibe, you turn to a snake, I swear I'ma turn to Melly. This shit sound good. This shit sound good hearing it in song, and it catchy than a motherfucker. It's swift, it's clever. But you gotta know, in order for this to be a part of the artistry, for a rapper to sit back and put this in their music, if a motherfucker can just sit back and just keep it real and just be like, you think he did that? You feel like in your heart, Melly really did that? The reason why you put that in your song? Or do you know that he probably might have done that? You'll be amazed at the response you probably would get if people could just flat out just be that real. But it's this game that you have to play, where you have to tiptoe and be strategic. Just like even me with creating content, it's like you just, everything is allegedly. But I just always say, man, just use your common sense. Use your common sense. Go. The court have to play the game, because it's a money game at the end of the day. When people freedom on the line and they got millions to play with, whether they did it or not, it's all about the money. But if you're a person to sit back and have common sense and you just watching it play out and you ain't got no dog in the fight, I feel like you can give your honest opinion and say how you feel without being attacked, without being, legally, come at with defamation, anything like that. That's just me. I feel like it don't be fair sometimes, because, man, just because you can sit up here and pay your way through things sometimes don't mean that people still don't have an honest opinion that they can sit back and use their common sense on and just go, nah, man, that person might be guilty than a motherfucker. Ain't no might in it. They done that shit. Look at all this evidence. The proof is in the damn pussy. So to hell with what they paying in court to get thrown under the bus or swept under the bridge, under the rug, or get thrown out. That's what the money's supposed to do. Let's use the common sense, people. Let's just use the common sense. So I appreciate everybody who been following the series that I've been just, on, just how I've been covering it and supporting the page, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, just interacting, negative, positive, however. I don't care because it's still an interaction at the end of the day, and that's your opinion. Feel how you want to feel, because me covering this content and how I cover it don't necessarily make me right. This is just my opinion. But I do got a thing called common goddamn sense, and I try to use that to the best advantage because I feel like God gave it to me for a reason. And I use it. I ain't gonna attack nobody. I ain't gonna falsely accuse nobody, but if we going off fact, we going off proof. I say, man, it ain't nothing wrong with calling a spade a spade. This shit is nasty work. It is. So I appreciate all the love and support I've been getting, man. I'm like 20 away from 1,000 subs. And, I'm gonna keep on just covering the trial coming up in another year or so. In closing, I'm gonna just say it like this. I feel like one person was designed to free Melly, and the other person's testimony came from the heart, and however it went was just however it went, because Trayvon gave his truth. AD was brought in to try and give reasonable doubt to the situation. Make everybody believe that Melly switched cars and he wasn't inside the Jeep at the time of the murder. This was strategically done. So if you ask me, I feel like these two testimonies, in all honesty, were the most two important. Because like I say, one, ultimately, you see how much truth, where it didn't even take him just like how people try to make it seem like this nigga just got up there and pulled a 6'9". No, he didn't. He still kept it street to a certain degree. It just, I ain't vouching for no nigga like fuck you. And I get it. Because if you going off of what Juba's father said, and this was supposed to be one of his close friends, man, I don't give a fuck what they do to that nigga. Fuck that nigga. I ain't finna vouch for him. I'm finna tell you my truth. Did that man get in that car? Did he get out? No, he didn't get out. Did he show up at the house? No, he wasn't at the house. Was he at the hospital? No, he wasn't at the hospital. Was he at Fredo Bane's house? Yep. Take that how you want to take it. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You only see stuff wrong with situations like this when you sitting up here and you stuck in an era of trying to live by a street code that, me personally, I don't give two shits. Let me know what y'all think, man. And I'm gonna say one last thing. If you think about all the evidence they had on Melly, plus the testimony of Trayvon, it ain't no way in the hell a person in their right mind would sit up here and listen to AD's testimony and think that that wasn't a lie. He slick committed perjury. That was perjury we saw before our eyes. And if you think for 1 second that that testimony had any piece of truth in it, like a grain of it, like I'm talking about salt, some shit you can't even see, it was no truth in that testimony other than Melly leaving that studio in the black truck. That's when the truth stopped. Everything after that, from him switching cars and on the highway to going to the house and all that stuff like that, getting in the bed, like, man, that man committed perjury, man. But this is the game that they play in the courtroom, and the only thing that the DA could come up with was, this man smoke weed and he get high, right? I just did a whole 20-minute, probably 30-minute video once I get done editing this. Smoking. What wrong with that? That still don't change the fact that the fact is the fact. And the only thing say that man was some money and foul play behind the scene that we might not be able to just really track, but I feel like somebody got into the juror's head for real and paid one of them people off. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. It's T-RaeTv. Y'all have a blessed night. I appreciate all the love and support I've been getting on the channel. I'm almost 20 away from 1,000 subs.